Hello. I'm trying to film outside today, and also I'm trying this microphone. I don't know if it's going to work. Anyway, there's a lot of wind and there's water nearby. It's a very chill place. So yeah, the weather is good. Spring is back. It feels so weird. I haven't talked to the camera, I feel like, in a long time, in English at least. So yeah, today's topic, I wanted just a few, but the first one is I want to make a documentary about my grandparents, and I kind of got started, and I need to do an interview of my uncle, which should be happening early May, hopefully. I still have to call him and check if it's okay, if he's available. And I'm a bit worried about that because just right after he needs to get a heart surgery, and he's gonna be probably not, I don't know what's gonna be his state after that, but yeah, it might be difficult for a few months. And also he's not the type to rest and take it seriously, so he might overdo things, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, the idea is that my grandparents were taking care of a sort of orphanage, which was only for boys. And they were of kind of all ages, maybe from like 6 to, I don't know, 15, 16, I guess. I'm not sure exactly the ages. But I found in my uncle's place he had all the old documents of my grandparents, and there was like papers of my grandfather when he was sent to Germany during the war to do forced labor, and I was like, wow, that's interesting because I never heard about his life story, and I only met, like, my grandmother, she passed away and I was 3 years old, so I've barely met her. And my grandfather, the only time I've been with him, around him, he was always in a wheelchair or in a hospital bed, like he was, half of his body was paralyzed, I guess. So I couldn't I couldn't really talk to him. He wouldn't say much, he would barely speak. But then I was very curious about their story because I was like, wow, that's quite interesting. Like, taking care of an orphanage is a very difficult job. Especially, it was like probably in this, after the war until the 80s. So, and there's a lot of documents of that period, like there's a lot of press articles, like they really took care of collecting every piece of, I don't know, information, and I found that very interesting because I have nothing, I'm the type of person who just throws everything away, and then sometimes I regret it, but I feel like I have this urge to erase the past in my personal life. Like I had my old, school books, or like things from what's called preschool, like when you are like 3 years old, because my parents did keep that, like drawings and stuff. But then I was looking at it, I was like, that's cool. And someday I was like, okay, let's just trash it all. And I kind of regret that. And yeah, I don't have much records of my past. But my grandparents, they kept their school books, so I have their school records, and it's even more interesting because at that time it was quite rare to even go to school because they were from a farmer background, and it's noted on both of their records that they studied from home. And my grandfather, he had to stop his education, and he got his baccalaureate, which is like the high school graduation thing in France, after he came back from like working in Germany, and so he was delayed. Maybe he got it at like 30 years old or something. I'm not sure of the age exactly. I don't remember. But yeah, anyway, I was just very fascinated about their story. And on top of that, there's my mother, who she did mention a bit about her childhood when she was living there with all those boys that were living literally in the same place. I mean, she had her own room and whatever, but she was basically the only girl at home, and she had two brothers. So it was a bit weird for her to be there, and she was very resentful towards her parents, because she was maybe like, they were not really taking care of their own kids as much, or like, because their attention was divided by as many kids as there was in the orphanage. So it means that their own children were kind of sacrificed in a way. And I think there's a lot behind that, in why my mother was the way she was, and how in her own way was neglectful with me or my sisters, or like she didn't know how to express love. And so my goal with this documentary that I want to make is kind of a bit of a cleaning up of the intergenerational, trauma or something. I feel like there's something has been passed on, and it's weird because I have a lot of respect for, when I see what all my grandparents did, I have a lot of respect for them, even though as a consequence my mother lacked some sort of parental figures maybe, and she even went to the United States. She studied 1 year there during high school, and I think she found a somewhat of a, like she was staying in an American family, and I think it also really marked her, because she really felt like for the first time like she was living in a real family or something, and she had a lot of good memories with that. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here, but yeah, I feel like, because I can find this appreciation towards my grandparents, it's like almost as if what my mother lacked of and what I lacked of, because she didn't get it or whatever, it feels like it's all healed, not healed exactly, but yeah, I can't find exactly the word. Maybe I need more to reflect more on that. But anyway, so the idea is that I must do this interview, and then I will try to also interview my grandmother's sister. She's still alive, and she's basically almost the same age as my uncle, which is interesting, because I never realized that she was my grandmother's sister. For me, she was like she's like the aunt of my mother. But yeah, so it means that she's her mother's sister, but for me it just didn't process. She was like an old auntie or something, and I don't really have a close connection with her. We barely met, but she's a nice lady, and I think it's also, making a documentary for me is kind of a good excuse to meet older people of my family that I maybe don't have a strong connection with, and because also they are kind of in their 70s, and I mean there's so much interaction we might have before they leave. So yeah, that's the idea of this project. I think that's good for this one. Okay, see you in the next video.